Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Danny here. Wanted to give some of our guidance behind these Wadapalooza qualifier workouts. So, as always, we're going to start with workout one, plain and simple. This is a workout that we have a lot of data on. Many of you guys have done this workout more than once. This is one that I'm very proud to have been involved with programming in 2019 when I was the program director for Loud and Live and all their events. The workout is pretty straightforward. It's a 9-minute AMRAP of hang power snatches, overhead squats, and 30 double unders. Basically, the reps of the hang power snatches and the overhead squats will increase by 3. So 3, 2, 1, go. You'll do 3 hang power snatches, 3 overhead squats, 30 dubs. Then you'll go 6, 6, 30, 9, 9, 30. You will add 3s to the barbell exercises every round until you're done. So we have a few considerations, a few thoughts for you guys for this event. Just like I said in the chat earlier, when these certain qualifiers give us repeats or give us workouts that are inspired by benchmarks or whatever the case may be, it's coaches and also athletes' job to do as much research as they can. There's a few real easy things you can do, like just straight up going into Google or YouTube and punching in the old workout and seeing what comes back. You'll be surprised at how many videos of old qualifiers stay on Vimeo, stay on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. You'll have an opportunity to look at, different broadcasts like Morning Chalk Up or whoever, whatever, reviewing old events, talking about qualifiers, results, strategy, et cetera. You'll see coaches who have posted their own thoughts, just like I'm sure we have, right? So there's a ton of data, ton of stuff to look at. There's leaderboards, et cetera, et cetera. So, most of the guidance really comes from that and us doing that research, just like we want to advocate all of our athletes doing as well. Let's jump into the details. So structural limiters for the first event are going to be pretty straightforward. Grip fatigue, shoulder fatigue, and something that we didn't talk a lot about in our strategy for this event before seeing it happen in 2019 was your feet. I remember after this event, people very dramatically kicking off their shoes because they were under a lot of fatigue and their feet were hurting them considerably. So I think that that's definitely something that everyone is going to want to consider in their warm-up. We'll definitely program it in their warm-up, but that's for sure a structural limiter. There's also an aerobic limiter to be considered as well. Now, with that aerobic limiter and also the grip fatigue limiter that I talked about already, those are both going to settle in at a different rate for different people. I don't think that there's any feasible way to give an overall strategy or suggestion saying hey, everyone needs to stop on the round of 15, or we think everyone should be taking a break in the 21s, whatever the case may be. Where every person, regardless if you're elite, RX, intermediate, etc., is going to have a different relationship with this workout, just like many workouts. Sometimes giving a blanket statement or a tip like that is very arbitrary and doesn't always translate over super well. So, I'm sorry, guys, but we can't really give that guidance. It's going to be individualized. I will say this. When grip fatigue settles in, it's hard to recover from, especially in the middle of a workout. So if you have that concern, if you struggle from grip fatigue, I think you have to strategically plan your break before the workout makes you take a break because of your grip. There's other movement patterns and other structures that you can push to close to fatigue or close to failure and manage that and kind of ride that 90% range of intensity and whatever that limiter is. Grips are usually not one of them. So we would definitely not recommend that until you look at the clock and see a minute or 90 seconds left on the clock. And then it's time to push in regards to your grip fatigue. A couple things that you can do to try to manage your grip fatigue. Men may want to consider using a women's bar. There's nowhere in the standard that says you cannot do that, and a ton of people did that in 2019. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't come back to say that that's not allowed, but they didn't. So men very well may want to consider that. Another thing is making sure that you open your hands at the top, if not all, most of your hang power snatches. Just slightly opening your hands at the top to mitigate the amount of lowering or the amount of force and fatigue that you feel in the grip when you lower the bar. Okay, those are two very easy things that you guys can do. Another thing is lightly bouncing your reps. You don't want a video to come out of you with aggressive bounces that look like you're cheating and purposely trying to bounce and get a lot of friction coming up off the floor, but lightly bouncing will definitely help you manage that fatigue as well. Okay, in regards to the aerobic limiter, things that you've got to do while you have control, and you're not going to have control for the whole 9 minutes, but while you have control of this workout and your breathing, you have to stay in control. You got to understand that more than likely your breathing pattern will be thrown off of rhythm before your heart rate starts to increase like crazy. But if you get to the point that your breathing pattern is mimicking the amount of repetitions that you're doing and the rate that you're bending and hinging, is when you're gonna be in trouble. So your pace of breathing needs to be dictated by your own pace of breathing. You cannot allow the bending and the hinging and the fast movement pattern and those fast dubs in those first few minutes to dictate how you're going to breathe. If the longer you stay in control of your breathing, the longer you will stay in control of your heart rate. So that's a huge piece to this puzzle as far as an anaerobic limitation, in my opinion. Another thing that you can do is focusing on smooth and repeatable transitions. We got to make sure that you guys are not throwing the bar, not dropping the barbell like a maniac. You might want to put some change plates on the floor. We could even go as far as like putting X tape marks or maybe chalk marks on the floor of where you need to be dropping your bar, where you need to be placing your jump rope. The last thing you want is to have some kind of equipment malfunction or your bar to be dropping 10 feet in front of you at the end of this workout. Those are what we always call low-hanging fruit. These are events you guys have to do the low-hanging fruit shit well. Okay, that's all I got in regards to this one. We have some data about those top times. You guys can look at them on our strategy guide or in the notes that we're gonna put out for all of you. The last thing I'll say, the top score that we had from 2019 was 438. That is into the round of 24, and that individual only dropped the bar once in the round of 21. So, consider that. If you think you're a candidate for the top scorer in the world in this workout, maybe that's the kind of strategy you need to be considering. If you're not that kind of athlete, then that's probably not the kind of strategy that you need to be considering. All right, good luck. Peace.